Is Doctor Who a superhero? It's a strange question to ask. There's lots of ways that he is, there's lots of ways that he isn't. A lot of people would say that he is. And if we look at how he does things, if we look at how he works, he's an intergalactic alien who travels through space and time, trying to save planets and universes and galaxies, which is, a superhero type thing to do. But at the other end of the scale, he's ended worlds, countless worlds, because of the Time War. One being his own planet. I mean, you watch it, they've retconned that so many times, and it's not gone, but it's gone, and then it's back, and then it's not. But for all intents and purposes, he has destroyed planets and galaxies. If you go into the further mythos of the entire Doctor Who universe, you listen to the Big Finish audio stories. They add so much more content to each individual Doctor Who. Some of those stories would make great actual television shows, which would show just how much Doctor Who is actually a superhero. Me personally, I think Doctor Who's more of a vigilante. He goes places just to be there, just show up, have fun, and then something ultimately happens. Nobody asks for his help. He thrusts himself into these situations and he takes over. More of a Batman way. I'll do this, I'll do that. If you go through each individual Doctor, they vary. Some of them are just complete superheroes. They don't look at how things are black and white. They say this is how things should be done. They do things by the book. They don't go off on tangents. They do it. They save the world, they save the planet, whatever it is, and then they move on to the next place. Some of those Doctors were more sought after, as it were, because there wasn't as much carnage left in the wake of it all. Whereas there's other ones, most of the later ones, is where all the carnage starts. I'd say from round about Sylvester McCoy onwards is when anarchy ensues, because that's when they started to realise that he's not a superhero. He's not just an alien who's trying to help people. He is actually a vigilante. Whereas before, he was just a superhero. As the phrasing is, that's what he was. He was a hero coming and helping people and then leaving. But as time went on, more and more, he became more of a vigilante. Some of Paul McGann's Big Finish stories, he is definitely a vigilante. Still the hero, but if you listen to those stories, you can see where he goes from being the hero to this is what I do to get things done. People don't really regard him too much as a Doctor Who because he only had the film, but there's some comics that he's been in, some of the newer series he showed up, they've done the special, and they've done the Big Finish stories. He's done a lot of them, and it goes into much more of his background before he regenerated into Christopher Eccleston. Well, he goes into the War Doctor, but it was Christopher Eccleston to start with in the Big Finish ones, but then they retconned it in the series that he goes to the War Doctor. And the way he is before he regenerates into the War Doctor, he becomes a completely different character. He's not a hero, he's not a vigilante, he is a soldier. Because until then, he wasn't. He was still trying to be the hero, he was still trying to save everybody. And then the War Doctor comes along and decides, I just need to kill everybody. It's the only way that this war stops. And after he does kill everybody, you can see how it affects the later Doctors because they don't remember that it was their choice to change things until even later. And it shows how much it took to change from being the hero to being a soldier and then just becoming a complete vigilante. He has no regard for authority after that. Beforehand, he did. When Sylvester McCoy came in, he still had some regard for authority, but it was okay, you're in charge, but you should probably do that. And then later ones, it's like, okay, this is what we're doing. So yeah, but we're in charge. Like, no, this is what we're doing. It's not really the superhero thing to do, just come in and take over, which is why it's more of a vigilante type thing to do. When it gets to David Tennant's Doctor, he tries to go back a bit until he loses Rose, and then he decides, no, it's not happening, because when I decide to do things right, I lose people. So then he decides to be a vigilante again, and again, he loses people. So he goes into thinking, damned if I do, damned if I don't. And so he stops travelling with people because he can't bear to lose any more people. He's had 700 years of losing people, and he doesn't want to go through that anymore. And then he regenerates into Matt Smith, who definitely needs somebody with him. I've got a lot of thoughts on Matt Smith Doctor. It wasn't my favourite. I think it was a slow start with him, but he grew on me, and he sort of went back to trying to be a hero, travelling with people. Then he lost people, and he was going to start going down the same route, but again he found somebody else, and then it was them that lost him. There's been a few where the companions have stayed the same and they've changed the Doctor, but nothing really changed. They didn't go into how the companion felt about the complete change of character, but it went into it with this, and it was really good seeing just the complete change between Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi, two completely different Doctors. Peter Capaldi's Doctor has been the most vigilante. It seems to be that all the Scottish ones seem to be the more vigilante. For all intents and purposes, he was not the hero. And then when he lost Clara, he didn't take that well. He found it hard to move on because she was there for him when he came into being, when he became the Doctor. He didn't know how to take that loss that much that he basically pulled her out of time at the moment of her death, because he said he is a Time Lord. He is the Lord of Time. He decides when people go. And that is such a vigilante move. But eventually he does lose her, and he moves on. Once he's moved on, Bill comes in and Nardole comes in. They keep him grounded. They make sure that he isn't being a complete vigilante. They make sure that he does have morals, that he does do the right thing. Because for a while he stopped doing what everyone else thought was the right thing and what he thought was the right thing. He wasn't following his conscience. He was just saying, this is right, this is how I see things. And it was dark. It was a dark time for him. And his speech when he was regenerating has to be one of the most poignant regeneration speeches I've heard. And then from there, you had Jodie Whittaker. I think she done a fantastic job, as did all the companions. They were really, really great characters as well. She was a more emotionally grounded Doctor compared to some of the rest of them. The stories that came out with her, she always tried to do what was right for everybody. Everybody was given a chance, even in the first episode, when she was still regenerating and not really knowing who she was still trying to do the right thing. And it's just sort of came back full circle to her being like the superhero Doctor. As things went on, she again started to doubt herself and started to distance herself from people because she thought, what if I lose people? What if I lose more than what I've lost before? She'd let herself get more emotionally attached to her companions than had been in a long time. That helped cement her really as a hero Doctor. And from there, we have caught up to where we currently are, where she regenerated into David Tennant for the 60th anniversary in November. Also, we're going to have the 15th Doctor, because David Tennant's going to be classed as the 14th, Ncuti Gatwa, who I am looking forward to. I've not seen anything he's been in, but I've heard that the things that he's been spectacular, and I'm looking forward to it because out of the 4 Scots that we've had, this is the first time that it's a Scot to a Scot. I'm intrigued to see how they go about this special episode and how they treat it, and if they're going to actually treat it as an actual regeneration, as David Tennant's going to be a full regeneration, or is it going to be something happened and that's why David Tennant's back. But again, we're going to have to wait until November. We've had the one trailer and that's it. From 1963 till the 80s, he was a hero. There was times where he was on the fence, but for most of the time he was a superhero. From the 80s onwards is when he's really on the fence until he's really not. This is where he crosses the line and becomes a vigilante. And it's not until Jodie Whittaker that Doctor Who becomes a hero again. I'm looking forward to see where they take it. Are they going to keep the Doctor as a hero? Are they going to have the Doctor middling, where sometimes he'll be a hero, sometimes they'll be a vigilante? How dark is it going to be? Is it going to be light-hearted and jokey, more or less? Is it going to be really dark, the way Peter Capaldi's were really dark? There was some really dark episodes with David Tennant and Matt Smith. They had lots of dark episodes. Christopher Eccleston had some dark episodes. There was some quite dark episodes in the late 60s and early 70s. So it's not uncommon for there to be dark episodes. They have done them in the past, and I'm excited to see where they're going with these ones. Overall, I'm personally inclined to say that the Doctor's a vigilante. He tries to be a superhero, but most of the time he's a vigilante, and I think that's how he should stay. I think he should stay in the middle and be a hero when he really needs to be a hero, and be a vigilante when he knows that he needs to be a vigilante. Let me know what you think. I'm happy to discuss what you think about Doctor Who. I know a lot of Doctor Who fans out there who will be jumping to disagree with me and say, no, he's a complete hero all the time. That's why we're here. We're here to discuss. Till next time, see you later. Bye.